Welcome to the Creative Heifer Show. My name is Jessica. Today is our midweek knit and chat.
Yay!
The Creative Heifer Show. And I have my notes for this one because it's going to be kind of a long video. We're just going to be chatting about my opinions on things. So grab your project, grab something hot, and join me for our midweek knit and chat. What shall we talk about today? Let's talk about handmade gifts. Handmade gifts are wonderful. I recently watched a YouTube video where they were talking about people who give gifts that are handmade to family members and significant others. And the whole video was about the reaction of the gift. And some appreciated the gift and others did not. I was going to save this topic for the holiday time, where it's more relevant. Things like Christmas, where people are giving gifts. However, we live in a society now that is so materialistic that we give gifts for literally every occasion under the sun. And so I figured that now is just as good a time to talk about this as any other time. And the only thing I really want to say about it is that handmade gifts are wonderful. It would bring me so much joy to see more people appreciate the time and effort it takes to make something for someone else. Handmade gifts are not cheap. They are extremely thoughtful, and I would just like to see more people appreciate them. There was a time when all gifts were handmade, but just like so many other things, that has really fallen by the wayside, and we just don't value handmade anymore. So I would just really like to see that come back. I would like to see more humility, and I would like to see us as a society be less materialistic. Yes, that is my thoughts on that. I would personally be honored if someone were to make me a gift, because I think that would encapsulate so many emotions and memories. Imagine having something, let's say your grandmother made, and let's say it's a quilt, and let's just say hypothetically, if she were not around anymore, and let's say hypothetically, most people would have a good relationship with their grandparents, I would hope. you know, just having that quilt that she made gives you the ability to snuggle something that that has the memories of your grandmother associated with it when you miss her. And you know, there's not a thing in this world that comes close to that kind of sentimentality. There is no material, store-bought material thing that has that same sentimentality. So I can't even fathom a more precious gift, a treasure. And I still have letters that were written to me by people who at one point in time I considered to be a friend. But now they've gone their separate ways, you know, because the friendship obviously has dissolved. But I still kept their letters, you know, from way back when we were pen pals. It was a few years ago when, you know, that was a common thing to have pen pals. Hold on. I don't know where I am in my knitting again. Okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit. Here, just hold on. Okay, where was I? Anyway, the point is that I still treasure those letters, and when I read them or hold them, I am reminded of that time when I had a friend. I actually had a friend at some point in my life, and that to me is astonishing, that just the fact that just anyone wanted to be a friend with me in the first place. And that deserves to be looked back on and those memories treasured. In the moment, we may not fully treasure those people who are close to us. But someday, you're going to look back at your life and you're going to remember those people, and you'll be heartbroken if you didn't appreciate them when you had the chance. Ask me how I know. I won't talk too much about my high school boyfriend. He was the only boy that ever agreed to date me, and he didn't like me at all. He just wanted to say that he had a girlfriend. I guess it was cooler than just saying I'm alone or single, you know. You know, I never, he was the only boyfriend I ever had, and I didn't have another boyfriend after him. And of course now, you know, I'm a fat loser, so, but that's beside the point. I think I'm gone off topic. Anyway, let's talk about something a bit brighter. Let's see. I guess I can talk about my scrappy rag quilt. I often like to work on this in the summer because the project is portable. It's portable enough for me to take outside and just enjoy the beautiful day and, you know, see what's going on in the neighborhood and just sit and stitch a bit. I'll show you the square I'm working on. Get to a good stopping point in my knitting. I'm gonna make a few more stitches because I don't want that stitch holder to fall off. Okay, let me put my knitting down for a minute. Okay, let's see. All right, this is the square I'm working on. So this is a bit of slow stitching. So if you're not sure what that is, I urge you to go and check out Sarah Humphrey embroidery channel. She talks all about slow stitching and so I've been using various threads from cross-stitching kits and other projects. So you can see this is very much a fabric collage. And I'm going to cut strips of fabric that I will rag when I get ready to put this quilt together. So this technique here, it's really about the act of stitching itself, and some people find it to be really relaxing and mindful. There is also shashiko, which is a Japanese slow stitching. This was done originally to make old cloth new again. They would stitch like a geometric pattern. So it's really cool. Go look it up, because you'll see it's just a beautiful technique. All the beautiful designs they have. It's just it's a beautiful technique of stitching. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna show you what else I do with my box of old threads. So let me show you here. I have all of these threads. This whole box here is full of threads. Look out. These are the threads here that are from like old cross-stitching kits, embroidery kits, that kind of thing. And then I have some of these that I bought a set of this. It's 447 of these little things, but they don't have the DMC numbers, and I didn't know that they didn't have the DMC numbers. So obviously I can't use this for cross stitch, so that's why they are all in here. Because I'm using them for other things. So, as I said, yeah, this is from cross-stitching kits, embroidery kits, sewing projects, and so on. So, like, if I wrap my DMC on bobbins, sometimes the labels will fall off of them. So I won't know what it is. Or sometimes the colors will be wrong, like this one doesn't have any labels or anything. And sometimes the DMC color will be wrong because my threads come from various companies, various Chinese places in China, I don't know. And so sometimes the colors don't match to the actual DMC number that they're supposed to match to. So when that happens, I will wrap them on bobbins and just throw them in here. So this is where this is my box of that. And what I use these for is embroidery. I do this is called satin stitch. I'll show you my project here. This is called satin stitch. Sometimes it's called long and short stitch. So they call this satin stitch or long and short stitch. So anyway, this is Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. This is one of my larger embroideries. This is actually the first embroidery that, the long and short stitch embroidery that I have done. So I started this, I don't know, it was maybe 4 years ago. And this is all I've managed to get done with this. So I'll film myself working on this at some point. I do have a larger embroidery that will also use up those threads. That one is my colorful owl. That image is part AI, part freehanded. I'll show that off later. You know, I need to unearth him from the great closet of doom, where my craft items go to hibernate. Sometimes things get lost in there, and sometimes avalanches happen in there, and yeah, let's just say my organizational skills are a mess. So, going back to Eeyore, I want to talk a little bit about, oh goodness, that's the back. Oh, look at the back. It's awful. I like to do these colorful backgrounds to also use up the threads. So anyway, because this is my first one, he's a little messy. I've had a few issues with him. Let's just say this project has not been smooth sailing, so that's kind of why he's in timeout, actually. I used to have him in a frame. I took him out of the frame. Yeah, he's in timeout, but I do have this huge cone of thread to finish him. So, okay, I'll move on. I could talk about Eeyore all day, but I'll move on. Okay, let me grab my knitting again. And let's talk about something else. Okay, let me get untangled, because I don't know how that happened, but I am having a little bit of a tangled mess going on here, so. Okay, okay. Oh, let's talk about acrylic versus wool, and why most crocheters feel like they can't use wool in their projects. And they feel like they're just stuck using acrylic. So I've been using acrylic yarn for years. I started out as a crocheter. Red Heart yarn was my life, but lately I've been trying to switch to natural fibers, especially now that I am a knitter. The only thing I'll say on this topic, and this might come off a bit like a hot topic, but this is just my opinion. The reason that acrylic yarn is used for crochet is because crochet uses more yarn than knitting. Wool is vastly more expensive than acrylic yarn. It is less available, and it can be finicky. It could be a hassle to deal with the felting and the peeling of wool, and it's harder to care for. And, you know, of course, there is the allergy issue and the environmental issue that I'm not going to touch on right now. There's also, of course, animal rights and all that. But anyway, when I buy wool, I know that I need to buy more than the average person. So if the average person is buying 4 skeins of wool to make a sweater, I know that I typically need to buy 8. 8 skeins. Just simply because I am a bigger person. And, you know, that also means that a lot of times I do have to alter my patterns, because, believe it or not, a lot of patterns are not size inclusive. So cost and availability is the biggest reason why I think many crocheters can't use wool. I mean, some do, but I feel there needs to be something that is more luxurious feeling than acrylic, but you know, maybe cheaper than wool and more available. And of course, I don't know what that would be, but I know that there is a market for, you know, really nice yarns, and I feel like yeah, there just needs to be, better options, I think. So I am actually working on a crochet project. I am working on a cardigan. It is a pattern by Red Heart Yarns. And I'll talk about that more later. So let me know if you want a crochet in chat, or if you even want more knitting and chatting, if you even like the knits and chat. Because yeah, I would just like to know what kind of crafts would you like to see on this channel, because I do all kinds of crafts, so I'm not sure what really what people want to see. I would like to try doing needle felting and latch hook, maybe peg loom, but mostly I enjoy fiber arts. That is mostly what I do. I do, knitting and, embroideries, sewing. I enjoy fiber arts the most. But I do a little bit of everything. So, yeah, just let me know what you would like to see. So I'm trying not to get too lost in my knitting. Trying to gather my thoughts and not get too lost in my knitting here. Because I don't want to have to go back and rip this out at the end of the video, because I just got my knitting straightened back out. If you weren't here for that the very first video that I did, the introduction to the Creative Heifer, because I worked on this in that video. If you haven't seen that, then you won't know what I'm working on. I'm working on a variation of the Becker Throw by Norma. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's not super important what I'm working on. It's not a complicated knit. It's just that as I'm filming and knitting at the same time, because I do have to count my stitches, because I'm supposed to have a certain number of knits. And I get lost very easily. So there's that. Anyway, I do have some paint by numbers that I tried. I did start one of them. I didn't film it, but I did start it. And I made a real mess of it. And I don't know if paint by number is for me necessarily, but I will pull it out, and we'll work on it at some point. That will probably be Thursday's video, I think. Yeah, just let me know if paint by number is something you'd be interested in seeing alongside of cross stitch and diamond painting. Yeah, so anyway, I think this video has gone on long enough, so I'd like to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.